Good morning, I'm Joanna and welcome back to my channel In All Seasons Homestead. Today I'm going to walk you through step by step of how to make dandelion jelly. Spring is in full bloom and we've had an abundance of dandelions this year. Some say dandelion jelly tastes like honey. I don't know about that, but it's sweet, smooth, and almost free. For this recipe, you'll need 4 cups of dandelions, 5 cups of water, 4.5 cups of sugar, 1 box of pectin, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. The first thing you'll want to do is obviously go outside and pick your dandelions. You just want to pop the heads off, you do not need the stem. And I also go to a section of the yard that I know there's no dogs or animals, but still you're going to wash them off. When I get back inside from picking my dandelion heads, the first thing I do is get out a large pot and I will add the 5 cups of water and I will start warming that up slowly. The next step is to separate the yellow from the green, and I will show you just a minute close up how that looks. I don't always get every last piece of green off of the flower. I do miss little pieces here and there, but the goal is to try to get as much as green off as possible so your jelly is more sweet than bitter. This step can take a little while, that's why I turned my water on a low heat so it can get warm slowly. Don't want it boiling away as I'm working on the flowers. Here is the dandelion close up, and then if you turn it over, you'll feel kind of this little ball right where the stem, right there is where you'll feel a little ball, and you'll cut that. And then the flower opens up and you just pick off the rest of the little green leaves and you'll be left with the fluffy yellow petals. You can use scissors or your fingers. If you do use your hands, your skin will stain kind of a greenish yellow, but I find it quicker with my hands than my scissors. And then my daughter joined me, so the process went much quicker. It's nice to have help during this step. My daughter seems to like to separate the dandelion heads, but then she doesn't care much to do the stirring or the actual process canning part. So after we separate the green and the yellow, I'm going to measure out before I wash to make sure I have 4 cups of petals. And then I will rinse them very well. And it's also good, I mentioned that you want to pick your dandelion heads in a clean area, but also make sure that you're not picking dandelions from an area that could possibly have been sprayed by chemicals. So now at this point, you want to get your water up to a boil, and you're going to drop your clean dandelion petals into your water. And then I will use a wooden spoon and push the petals underneath the water level, and then you will turn off the heat and let it steep. Now this steeping part, I have done many different ways. In the past, I've let it steep for 2 hours, I've let it steep all day, but for this video, I let it steep for 1 hour, and actually the flavor was exactly the same as the jelly that I processed last year, and I think I let it steep almost the whole day. So while I let my dandelion petals steep, I will wash my jars and prep the rest of my ingredients. Or if you choose to let it steep for a couple of hours or all day, then you can go about your day and get a lot of stuff done while you're waiting. But I will get my jars, my lids, my rings, my canning pot, some of my canning tools, And then I got my sugar, pectin, and lemon ready. And I believe I forgot to mention that this recipe will make 7 half pints. Today I'm going to use a piece of cheesecloth to strain the petals and the water. I have not used cheesecloth in the past. I just poured the petals into the strainer. But today I decided to use the cheesecloth. I've never had trouble with the petals getting through the strainer. I will just use a wooden spoon or a spatula and press the water out of the petals through the strainer. But today I used the cheesecloth just to see if there was much of a difference. And then I also picked up the cheesecloth and wrung it out. I got quite a bit of water out just from squeezing it really hard. After I finish straining, I'm going to pour the liquid back into my measuring cups to make sure that I have 5 cups of liquid. After I poured my dandelion water back in my saucepan, I will turn the heat back up, and then I will get the lemon and the pectin ready. So as I said before, this recipe uses 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I will measure that out and add it to my dandelion water while it's heating up. Next, I will pour my pectin, my package of pectin, and I will stir that until all of the clumps and pieces of pectin are smooth. And right at the beginning, after you get the pectin stirred in nice and smooth, you don't have to constantly stir it. That's why I have just a second to measure out my 4.5 cups of sugar, and then I will go back and stir slowly. As my water heats up, it's going to start getting thicker. You're going to bring up your liquid lemon juice and pectin up to a boil, and when it gets to the boiling point, you're going to boil it for 1 minute. Make sure you're constantly stirring at this point. I also had my water bath canner filled up and the stove is on, warming up the water. And here is the liquid at the boiling point. So now I will be ready to pour in my sugar. And I'm using organic evaporated cane sugar, but you can use any sugar that you like. I don't believe that this part takes too long, but you'll want to stir your sugar, get it nice and smooth, and then when you get this part heated up to a boiling point, you're going to boil it for 1 minute also. I had just a couple of seconds before my dandelion jelly got too hot, so I brought my jars over, getting them ready, and here it is at the boiling point. So I boiled it for 1 minute, and then I will turn the heat off and take it off the heat. This is the recipe that I have used for years. I have seen a couple of recipes that said fill to 1/2 inch headspace, and some have said 1 inch headspace. I just checked it with my tool, but usually what I do is fill up my jars to the bottom of the funnel, and then I will use my little red stick there just to get out the air bubbles. I will wipe my rim clean and then put my warm lids and my rings finger tight and then place in the rack of my pot. And then I'll continue the process of the rest of my half pints. I will fill, take out air bubbles, wipe the rim, place the lids and the ring, and place them into the pot. My family doesn't really prefer jelly. We actually all like preserves and jams more. But I mean, when you have things like dandelions and redbud flowers, things like that outside for free, you might as well take advantage of that. And I'm actually starting to really like jelly. I've been eating a lot of it this week, and I really like it now. So I want to encourage you guys, if you're more of a jam and preserve person, have you ever tried dandelion jelly before? And if you haven't, you should definitely give it a try, and you may like it. And also check out my description below. I'm going to link the canning tools and canning jars that I use. Maybe give you guys some ideas if you're new to canning. And also I will write the exact simple recipe of dandelion jelly in the description also. So right now I'm going to lower my jars, put the lid on, and set my timer for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you will remove your jars, place on the counter to cool down, and then you'll hear the lids make a pop sound, and I usually let them sit on the counter all night until I remove my rings. I hope that I made this recipe look fun and simple, and please comment below if you've made this jelly or a similar jelly, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.